So we'll do our Gmail. So let's open up our Gmail account. Right, so we'll go again, Chrome. Now that we have our cool stuff, one thing I'll caution you with, if you go to the actual multicolored app launcher, if I were to click it, you'll notice my website goes away. I would just recommend, if you're going to do the multicolor, do it in a new tab, so then you can have your other tabs. Not that it's hard to open stuff. And you can see I have Gmail, so I just go to Gmail or gmail.com. We have one of two options. One is that Chrome already recognizes you as you're logged in. So if this does happen to you, then you're going to go to this little colored circle with your account, and you're going to add an account. Okay? If it doesn't, if you're a new user, which I can't show you on this one because it's going to recognize me every time, then you should just have a part where you can create an account. Okay? So if you are a new user, then there'll be a button, a blue button on the top right that says create account. If you're going to go my way where it recognizes you, on the bottom here there's create an account. Okay, so we'll get to the same place. All right, so then you fill in all your stuff, first name, last name. Okay, the only thing is, for this class, you have to do your first initial, your last name, and then NWU. That's the account I want. So for me, it'd be J. Teakin, NWU. So I need all of our Gmail accounts to be exactly the same with first initial, last name, NWU. Because then I know exactly where your websites are, I know your Gmail accounts, I know everything. Just NWU, nope, no ats, no anything. Just first initial, first name, last name, NWU. And then create your password and fill in the rest. And then the last thing is you type the blurred picture to prove you're not a robot. So when you do get to your current email address, it's a secondary address so that if anything weird in Google happens, they can email you somewhere else.
Okay.
So I have actually multiple Gmail accounts. I just put another Gmail account. Yeah. So once you do all that, then you should have a drive. So now you should have a colored circle with your first initial. So that's what lets you know that Chrome has logged you in as your person. So to get to Drive, I can do, well, you could do one of two things, right? So I'm in Gmail, so you can always tell on the left here, under Google, it'll tell you where you are. So I'm in Gmail, which is not my Drive. If I click Apps, I can get to my Drive. If I went to the non-colored app launcher, I can get to my Drive. So you have two choices. Just remember the colored one always overwrites your tab. And I can tell I'm on my Drive again because below Google it says Drive. Obviously, you can search your entire drive. Okay, your drive should look a little different than mine, so if you just opened your account, which you should have, otherwise it'd be weird that you had an NWU Gmail, then this should be kind of blank, or you may have some pre-scripted stuff in there. All right, you can see my username at the top. Here I'm the exact same app launcher, and then I can set up notifications, and then here's my account. Here's, if I go to the drive, my drive, if I click it, you'll see here's where I can actually create new folders, I can upload files, I can upload folders. This is where we'll access the Google Docs, Sheets, and other stuff, forms, drawings, all that stuff. Okay, Google is, I don't know if it's good or bad, but they're incredibly redundant. So you'll notice if I go to my drive, I have all that stuff I can do. If I click new, I have the exact same stuff. And Google does this a lot. There's multiple ways to get the exact same stuff. All right, so if I keep going along the top, then I go to these four boxes. This is how I can actually change the view. I'm a big fan of kind of just putting things in these rows, but maybe you're a grid person. So if you like grids, that's how you go. If you click this and go back to rows, so like I said, I'm just a big row person. Okay, if you go to the AZ, this is how you can sort things. So I can sort by last modified. It'll put the last thing I modified at the top. I can do last modified by me and last time I opened. Okay, you can also do that by clicking on the name. So you'll see that any time you see an arrow, you can actually click it, and now this will go descending order. So this is alphabetical with ascending and then descending. Now you'll notice I can't do it with the owner, because I'm the owner. There's nothing to sort, right? So if I had more than just me, I'd be able to do it. But if I go to last modified, now I can because there are differences. Makes sense? That's why the owner doesn't work, because what is it going to do? Put me in order again? So now if I go to this, now you'll see the arrow. So now I'm actually sorting by last modified, and here's ascending or descending. Okay, file size again, there are no file sizes, so I'm not going to be able to sort. So I'm a big sort by name. I don't know, I like alphabetical. All right, the last thing on this line, and this is good for Google, anytime you see the gear, that means settings. Okay, so here are your settings. You can go into settings. You can actually download your entire drive. You can do shortcuts or get help. All right, so let's go to the left here. So under new, right, I have my drive, and you'll notice whatever's highlighted here in red is where I am. I'm in my drive right now. If I click shared with me, and this is actually a very nice button, this is all the work that's been shared with me. And since, this is technically a class and I've taught this before, this is all the stuff that people have shared. Okay, so I don't have to go and look, some weird place for shared stuff. I just go to share with me. So when your peers share stuff with you, you go to share with me and you'll find it right there. Okay, here's photos. I don't have any photos, but if you want recent stuff, you can star stuff for importance, and you can trash it just like anything else. And then you have 15 gigabytes to use, which is quite a lot. And my advice would be, if you're a teacher and 15 gigabytes isn't enough, create another account. Yeah. So don't ever upgrade and pay. Why not have 10 Google accounts? So it's really it's an awesome thing. I think Google has done a great job. All right, so let's go back to My Drive. So let's learn how to do some My Drive stuff. Let's learn how to upload something to our drive. Okay, so let's go to my website. And now you'll see, and this is where the files come in. Okay, so we're on topic 2. And I need activity file 1. So let's click activity file 1. Okay, and I want to download this to my desktop because I want to show you how to upload things. So what we do is we go to the little arrow that points to the line, and that's download. Okay, and then I just want to make sure it goes to my desktop because they're easier to find that way. Okay, and this is activity file 1 in my desktop. All right, and then I hit save. And now I want to show you one thing. Normally I try to, and you'll see this when we do our website stuff, I try to put my links into new tabs. I must not have done this with this one because you'll see it's the Word document here. It's not my website anymore. So if I were to click out of this, I would get rid of my website tab, which is not a big deal. I have to just open another one, and it's annoying. So just back tab. All right, so let's go back to our drive. And now what I want to do is upload this to my drive. So I want to take activity 1 from my desktop to my drive. And Google has made it very nice where all you have to do is find it on your desktop. Right? So here it is for me. And you click and hold so that you're able to move it around. Okay? And then all you have to do is drag it over to your drive. You'll always notice Google too will always give you a little notification of everything that it does, which is highly annoying. Okay, so now you'll see we have activity 1. Okay, and if you want to view activity, you just double click it. Okay, and this is a Word document, which means I can highlight things, but I can't edit. And actually, this is a good point, what I just did. In website stuff, when you hit delete, it translates the websites to back page. So when I hit delete 3 times right there, it back paged 3 times. So that's why I'm no longer in my Google Drive. Okay, so it's just a nice thing to know. Delete means, back page. Okay, but that was the trick here was with Word documents, I can't edit them. And again, it got rid of my tab, so I'm going to hit the close button. So now if I want to actually rename this, so what I can do is I hover over it and I right click. Right? So if you go to a document, you right click, you get a lot of options now. You get a preview option. Okay, you can actually open these with a Google Doc. So what it'll do is it'll convert a Word doc to a Google Doc, which is nice. Okay, and we'll learn how to do that too. Okay, you can share with people, you can get the link, you can move it to folders, you can add a star for importance, you can rename it. So let's rename this. So how we rename these, we right click them, and then just like anything on a computer, right, let's call it just file 1, so the activity file 1. All right, and then you'll see I just renamed the file. Okay, so you have to right click to change the names. Before I go on to creating folders, let's right click again. And you'll notice here I have, again, preview has a nice little eye. The share is this nondescript figure with a plus sign. My link is this little bicycle chain thing. And then I even have, make a copy, download, and trash can. And notice those 4 are right here. Here's a link, here's the nondescript person, the preview, the trash can. So again, Google makes redundancies. These actually buttons are quite nice because you don't have to right click every time. So let's do this though before we do a folder. So the idea here is, again, I cannot edit this, but it is in my drive. So what if I did want to edit this? So here's how we do it. You can either go to your desktop, edit the new stuff, and then bring it in again. But the problem is if this actual document is linked in your website, so if you have links to this, like 4 or 5 links, you'd have to relink everything, okay, which is horrible. And this is my plug for Google Drive. You should put everything in your Google Drive and link it to this one document, because this is how we can change one document that'll change all the links. So keep in mind, imagine now this one document is linked 30 times, okay, and I don't want to change 30 links, I want to change this document. Okay, so what we do is we go to the original document. So let's go to your desktop, let's open it. Okay, so now we are just in a Word document, so let's enter a few times. Let's just write this document. It has been changed. Okay. I'm going to put an exclamation point. All right, so now we'll save it. Okay, and we'll just close out of it. All right, let's go back to our website. And now you'll see if I double click my Word document again, okay, you'll notice there's no text here. So it doesn't say this document's been changed because Google has no idea we changed our desktop. I mean, that'd be awesome feed if Google knew we were doing on our desktop. All right, so what we want to do is, and again, you imagine that this is linked to 30 different things on your website. Okay, what I do is I right-click my document and then manage version. Okay? And then we want to upload a new version. Okay, and this is the time where you can't just drag and drop this one. You have to go find it. So we're at activity file 1. All right, and then I hit open, and you can see it's uploading. Okay, so now what just happened is the URL address where the old one was is where the new one is. So all of your links now have this new file. So it's an awesome way to link a bunch of stuff to one document and only have to change one thing every time. Okay, and now anytime in Google you see these 3 dots, it means you can do more stuff. So if I click this, I can either download my old version, I can keep it forever, or I can delete it. I don't want to say delete them, but I always delete them. And it doesn't affect anything. It's not like if you had 2 versions, it's not going to know which one to choose. It's always going to choose the newest one. So now what we're going to do is hit OK, and then double-click your file. And you notice it hasn't changed. Okay, so now anytime you're using a web-based program and something's not working, your first line of defense is refresh. So close out of it and then hit refresh. All right, so if something didn't load or you think it's not loading or something's weird, you always refresh the tab. All right, and now you'll see if we double click it, there you go, it's changed my document. Okay, so that's one of the biggest tips I can give you on all this web stuff. Refresh is by far your friend. All right, so let's do this. Let's say I don't want to do that every time. And that's the beauty of Google Documents, right? Any kind of Google application is I can change them. So let's say I want to change my my Word file to a Google Doc. So what I can do is I can right-click it, and then I do Open, and then I'll choose with Google Doc. Okay? And if I do that, you'll see I get a separate tab, and it's actually changed it to a Google Doc. And now, when I highlight stuff and hit delete, I can actually edit it. The only thing, the word of caution I will give you is it doesn't always match up perfectly. Sometimes Google Docs misinterprets what the Word stuff is doing. So you always want to check your document because more often than not, it's messed something up. So don't just think everything's fine. Just scroll through it. So this one it did fine. And so now I'll close out. And now you'll see in my drive I have a file that's a Google Doc. Right? And I can tell because it has that little blue with white lines on it. And so that's how we can easily convert things. And again, if they're Google applications, I can edit them on the website. All right, so let's do a little organization. So let's actually, like I have, in these files, and you shouldn't have these on a computer, but I have, files inside files inside files. It would look ridiculous if I just had 1,000 files lined up. So you want to be able to organize things, and folders are a big deal. So let's go to New. We'll create a new folder, and let's just say, Practice folder. And I'm going to create a new folder, and now you can see I have a nice little practice folder. Okay, so if I want to move anything to a folder, if it's just one level, so what I mean by that is if I want to move this to anything on this screen, I just click it like I do in, on any desktop. I hold it and I just move it. Okay, like anything I want. Now the other thing is, what though, and you don't have these folders, but what if I wanted to put this file in, my ED2850 and then in class notes? Well, you see I don't have it to drag anymore. It's gone. So, and anytime you go into different levels, it puts the site map right here. So I went back to my drive. So what I would do there is I would right-click it, I would move to, and then here is where I can select that, ED2850, and then my notes, and then I could put move here. Okay, so if you're going one level, you just click and drag. If you want more than one level, you go to right-click, move to. And then you can go to whatever level you want. All right, so that's how you move things. Okay, so let's click practice folder. Let's say I didn't want to move that file 1 to the practice folder. I want it out of the folder. All right, so if I click on my folder, I can actually drag up to the top here too. And then you'll see it put it right back to my drive. All right, so now let's talk about sharing. And this is one of the best things about Google, is we can share files with anybody so they can view them, they can edit them, or they can comment on them.
This is how you need access, right?
This is how I need access. Yep, that's a very good question. So if you want to share anything, you click the document you want to share. You can either right-click and get the nondescript person with a plus sign, or remember it's an actual toolbar button. So just click on your document, and then I would do the toolbar button because it's just quicker. And now here I have choices. I can type in email addresses. So this is where if you want to do individual peers, and you can type in more than one, So you'll see, let's say I do JTkin, and then I can keep going, right? Obviously, I'm doing the same one twice. Oh, well, even let me do the same one twice. Let's do my other one. Right? You can see, so you can list bunches and bunches and bunches. Okay, if you want to get rid of them, just click the X. Okay, so if you wanted to invite people one email address at a time, that's how you do it. Okay, on this little tab, this drop-down menu, you can invite them to edit, which means they can, as long as it's a Google Doc where you can edit things on the web, they can change whatever they want in your document. You can invite them just to comment. So they can make comments. They can't change anything, but they can put comments on. Okay, or you can invite them just to view things, which means you can just look at it, but you can't do anything. So that's one person at a time. If we go to the bottom, this bottom right, advanced, right? So we click that, and now we get a whole kind of different screen. And I'll go through this stuff. So this first one, and that's what Google does, is everything that you put on the drive, it gives it a web address. This is the URL address of this document. This is where it's stored in Google's servers. You'll notice down here, here's the individual names, just like we had before. Okay, I have a couple more options. I can select, I want to prevent editors from changing access. So if I give you permission to edit and I don't want you to add new people, then I click this. Okay, I can also do it to where you can view the document, you can edit the document, but you can't download or copy the document. So it's kind of a security thing. So those are two new buttons. If you want to do more than one user at a time, this is where you're going to go. This private, you can change access. So we'll hit change. And here's where you can see we have whole groups of people. So right now I'm on, no one has access to do anything. Or I can change it to just people with a link. So if I link it to my website, you have to go to my website, click the link, and then you'll have access. Or if I email you the link, you'll have access. So that's anybody that has a link has access. And down here I can still change to edit, to comment, or to view. Okay? Or I can just publish it and the whole world can see it. Which means that anyone that searches, uses any kind of search engine could find your stuff and view it. They don't have to have a link. They can just view it anytime they want. Okay, so you got to be careful. I would be very careful with the whole world letting them edit things. But then you just hit save once you figure out your options. Okay, and you'll see it takes you right back to the other screen, but you've already changed it. And it actually told me here, if you go to the little world, it shows me that the world, it's public now and the public can view it. So it lets me know. And it lets me know I'm the owner. And then I'll hit done. And the nice thing about Google is now look at our file, you'll see we have a little share icon. I can tell what's being shared. And having said that, look at my folders. I can tell that this folder is being shared. This folder is being shared, and so is this one. So this ED3350 is not being shared. That doesn't mean that things inside aren't being shared, but the folder itself isn't. So let's talk about that. So I don't have to do just files. I can go to folders. So go to folder. I go to, again, my share little nondescript plus person. And now, so let's say this is a folder that I'm going to use for the class to do, to do my syllabus, all my links. Well, I don't want to have to do every single document. I want to be able to put it into the folder, and the folder will automatically change the document to shared. And I want it to be, anything I put in here, I'll put anyone with a link can view. Okay, then I'll hit save. Then I'll hit done. And you'll see I get a little, shared icon. And now you'll notice if I pull this in, it's going to give me a message to say, hey, look, you're putting a document into a folder that has shared conditions, which means it'll change the document to those conditions. So now anytime I put anything into that folder, it's automatically going to change the sharing to what the folder is. Okay, so it's an easy way to not have to go through every single document. Right? And then if you're actually in the folder, though, you can click on anything and change it. Right? I can change it to, now I want people to edit. So maybe people with a link can edit just that one document. All right, so just because you're in a folder that shares viewing, you can change individual documents as well. Doesn't make a difference. So if you want to get rid of anything, you just highlight it and hit the trash can. You can go, again, here's the site map. So if I go to my drive, I can click I don't want the practice folder anymore, so I can delete whole entire folders as well. And if you ever delete something and you're unhappy that you deleted it, it's possible if you hit Control-Z or undo, you'll get them back. That may not always work in everything we do, but in most Google stuff, if you hit undo, it'll get it back. Okay. But also, if you want, go to your trash can, right? And you'll see all the stuff you deleted. Oh. Okay, so if you mess something up, okay, so if you go up to the top, the trash with the arrow, we can empty it all. Yeah, but just like any trash can on your desktop. So now that you've been through the overview of Google Drive, do the Google Drive activity, the class activity. So go to my website, right? Go to Google Drives, and you'll see the class activity. So what I need you to do is just prove you can do all the stuff. So follow these steps. So I want you to upload a document. I want you to rename it, share it, convert it, do some folder stuff, share some folders, and then move stuff around. All right, so work on this activity. So all 14 of these steps you should be able to do.